So we're back. It's your guy Jay, host of the Livewire Sports Channel podcast, and I am with
Aaron Coughlin. AA Ron, as you and almost everyone else in my life like to
say. Thank the substitute teacher, Key and Pill. So no, we just saw a report come up, and Derrick Jnes Jr. is unfortunately hurt. What we were just talking about was the screen looked completely clean. The guy got hit on the screen. He was a little bit low. The guy did nothing wrong or foul. He just a unfortunate accident. What did you see in that video from watching it as well? Because he got put off on the stretcher.
Yeah, a bummer for sure. Comes off on a stretcher. Obviously, you think the worst, but generally when you see something like that, like we kept seeing the stretcher videos before seeing the actual play, right. Then you see the actual play and think, am I looking at the right thing? Because it just didn't seem like anything crazy, but, you watch a little more, his head snaps back. Just a bummer for the Heat. I think we read Eric Spoelstra actually said he didn't want to play Derrick Jnes Jr. much today. He wanted to rest him. Makes sense. The matchup is set, but they were dead on bodies and comes in and something like this happens. We got to see him stretch it off. So it's a bummer. I hope and I think that he can get back pretty quick, but yeah, this just sucks.
Hopefully so. I didn't realize that they were so low on bodies. I thought that them picking up Iguodala, and I think they did get Jay Crowder, correct?
They did, but specifically for this game, almost nobody's playing for either team. Jimmy Butler's not playing. T.J. Warren's not playing.
Simply because the playoffs.
Heat Pacers. So yeah. We would have been more excited about it otherwise. T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler go at it before the playoffs.
They know what it is. They just saving up. That's all it is.
Oh, for sure. But point is, the game itself doesn't really matter. To see Jnes Jr. go down like that, it just sucks. There's no other thing to say about it, I don't think.
Yeah, speaking on that point, though, one of my favorite movies, especially for football, is Friday Night Lights. And it always, seeing situations like that just kind of reminds me of, like, the Booby Miles situation, where you're up big. And in that case, they were down, like, 12. But it's the situation where it's like, this is meaningless. You don't need to be really in. Even if you're trying to preserve bodies, sometimes you might just have to run a longer rotation of guys who aren't your key guys and just take that risk. It's unfortunate that you put somebody in on a minutes restriction and something like this happens, but that's exactly why I'm not in favor of, this is a meaningless game. We've secured a playoff spot. I'm a fan of, or I'm okay with, it's 5 to 10 games left. I'm going to sit you guys some games and rest. In this case, it wasn't even 5-10 games. Playoffs start Monday, so it was just kind of pointless to play one of your key guys tonight.
Yeah, I get that. At the same time, though, we talked about last time just teams not getting into rhythm. And so I see the reason to play someone like Derrick Jnes Jr. He's not your go-to scorer or anything like that. He's a contributor for sure, but what are you going to do? Play 6 guys, the last 6 or 7 on the bench, or are you going to work in a couple of those rotation guys, try to stay, what's it, Friday? They're not playing until Monday or Tuesday. So,
right.
It's one of those situations where I don't see a problem with what Eric Spoelstra did as far as playing him. It just things happen, as they say.
Yeah, where things can go wrong, they will go wrong. And this was literally the perfect example of that. I mean, had they not been this close, I don't even think this would have happened. You know what I mean? Like, had this been February, he would have been fine. It's just crazy how that stuff works. Hopefully he's all good, though.
Playing 60-some games, like, you're trying to get back into it before the playoffs. So I get why guys might play a little bit. I don't know. It just...
But having an injury, like even with C.J. McCollum, you have the hurt back. Like, it was... I mean, he had to because you're fighting for a playoff spot. But I wonder, would Terry Stotts have allowed that if they were a 7 seed, if they were in Dallas's position? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I agree, but I wouldn't put Derrick Jnes Jr. at the same level as C.J. McCollum.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
How to make personnel decisions.
Yeah, for sure. CJ is proven. But
anyway, just a bummer of a situation, man.
Absolutely. Now, we were just talking about kind of like the caliber of player in a sense. And it made me think of, we were just talking about Dame on the last episode, and we spoke about CJ a little bit just now. But for some reason, it just made me think of Donovan Mitchell. I was talking to my guy Rasan about this, and I feel that Donovan has just experienced a tremendous amount of slander, and even you say it, like guys like Dame. It seems like it takes so much more for them to get credit. Like even now, it doesn't feel like Dame is receiving the proper amount of credit. But for Donovan, who I feel has been proven in the playoffs, where do you think that slander even comes from? Where does it start? Because I don't see how it happens.
I'm pretty sure I slandered Donovan Mitchell to you recently.
You have, and I definitely we almost threw down about that.
Okay, look, Donovan Mitchell's been in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell has done some fine things. Donovan Mitchell is also inefficient. Donovan Mitchell is not going to be the best player to lead a team to the finals. I don't believe that.
Woosah.
And I do not have any ill will towards Donovan Mitchell. I keep bringing up the fact I'm a Pistons fan. We chose Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell, and at first I was upset about that. But I'm telling you, I'm not as upset about it anymore because I think we know what we have in Donovan Mitchell already. I don't think he's going to get much better. I think he's going to be an okay, relatively efficient scorer and a go-to scorer even. But I don't think he's going to be the best player on a championship-winning team ever.
Whew. You guys make it so hard. No, I mean,
I'm all about some conflict. You know,
yeah, I can tell.
So let's
clearly
get into it.
You ain't too tall for me to jump on. No, I'm joking. But with that being said, though, do you feel like anybody else in particular out west who's the face of an organization or a team that is getting overrated? Would you say that about maybe? I don't think you'd say that about Luka, but I am curious because some people do feel what they feel about people. That's just is what it is. Do you feel that someone's overrated out west?
You said?
Yeah, even out east. Do you feel like there's a face of a franchise that's like, they're not the guy just yet, or it might not be?
Out west, I think we see it year after year. Carl Anthony Towns is a
absolutely,
fraud.
Yeah.
Okay, I sometimes like to say things more exaggerated than I actually believe to make a point. So, Carl Anthony Towns is not actually a fraud. However,
fraud.
What has he
I'm
done?
calling it.
So out west, I think he falls in that category. In the east, I mean, you can't put Joel Embiid in the same category because
you can't put Joel Embiid in the same category as
He's just so frustratingly inconsistent that, you know, he should be a lot better than he is. But we talk about, I mean, Donovan Mitchell, all right, had a good 2 or 3 years so far. I'm not, like, he's a young dude still, but he's not efficient, especially in the playoffs. Specifically in the playoffs, even.
But would you still send him 3rd and 13th in that draft? Would he still go that late in the draft for you, though? I'm very curious.
Well, right. And I mentioned Luke Kennard over him. I think, you know, the Pistons a couple of years ago getting that 8th seed against Milwaukee and almost taking a game or two. If we had Donovan Mitchell in that situation instead of Luke Kennard, we probably win more games. I just don't see how Donovan Mitchell is going to get better. I think he is what he is.
I don't think that this year this is the team for it. I'm a big fan of Mike Conley. I haven't seen Mike Conley beat Mike Conley. I think they are very similar in the aspect of the way that they handle. I look at Donovan as more of a point guard, regular season wise, and like even like last year in the playoffs, I saw him being more of a point guard. I felt like Ricky Rubio was the better fit. And it doesn't. A lot of people don't understand the better player isn't always the better fit. You know, so I look at it like that, and you know, we've talked about a little bit of the guys that you can see as like the face of a franchise that are overrated, but I want to talk about now the guys who I feel consistently get disrespected, that are underrated, that I would love to see back either in winning situations for the first time or back in winning situations, championship situations, right? So the first two guys that come to my mind are Andre Drummond and Kevin Love, who are in Cleveland right now. I am a big fan of Kevin Love.
Let's talk about Andre Drummond.
Absolutely, because he's a Pistons guy. But first with Kevin Love, I'm a big Kevin Love guy. I would love to see him in Boston. A winning situation where he can flourish. I don't think his game would hurt anyone who's on that team. I think he's a piece that they could actually use and need. No, he is not the dominant five that they might want or need, but you put a body down there that can take the punishment and let Kevin Love do what he does. I think that would be great for Boston. I think that makes them a legit championship contender. As for Drummond, Drummond to me gets entirely ignored, and I don't get why. I love the traditional bigs. Drummond to me, if you put him in a winning situation on a winning team, that team goes to put him in Golden State. Obviously, I'm saying that for certain reasons.
Disgusting.
But whoa. What? So what? He should go to Denver with you guys?
Oh, no. I'm saying disgusting as in that would be. Oh my gosh.
Thanks. I have to edit that. Now you got me cussing.
Okay, I'm passionate about this Drummond topic, so I'll talk about Kevin Love with you in a minute. But Drummond is special to my heart. One of the first jerseys I ever bought.
Okay.
Drummond is so disrespected, it is unbelievable.
A 2020 guy. How?
2020 consistently breaking records, dominating people on the boards. And look, let's not act like he had a good situation in Detroit. No. We all realize a 5 is not going to be your go-to. Even dudes like Kevin Love or Anthony Davis now, they're really 4s. Anthony Davis can be a go-to, but it's not the same thing. He's not a true center.
Right.
Andre Drummond figured out what he was good at and capitalized. And then guess what? Got a lot better in every other area.
Exactly.
Every single year.
Thank
he
you.
was a 35% free throw shooter, and now he's damn near 65. Just that by itself is a crazy improvement. I mean, that dude, look, as a Pistons fan, we needed to get rid of him. Trading him was the right call for financial flexibility. The Pistons needed a tank, is what it is.
You hate to say that because it's your team, yeah.
What's that?
I said you hate to say that because it's your team, like, obviously being here from Maryland and, like, in the D.C. area. If we were to lose John Wall and Bradley Beal, though, I would absolutely feel the same because I love John Wall and Bradley Beal. I would rather them, because right now, the way I look at that situation is just how I look at Devin Booker or Zach LaVine. I don't like seeing great talent be wasted, and I think that those are championship talents in the right situations. Yep. So, I just feel the same way about Drummond. Kevin Love has his ring. So I'm not going to go as hard for him as I would for a Drummond, a Wall, a Bradley Beal, a Zach LaVine, a Devin Booker. I don't believe in wasting talent, and I feel like that it's because it reminds me kind of like the Allen Iverson situation. Like, yeah, he was great and he willed them there, but at the end of the day, he never got the help that he needed when he was in his prime. Exactly. And therefore, his talents, in a sense, to me, he didn't get the accomplishments that he deserved because he put in the work. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's Andre Drummond to a T. I mean, he was expected to be the savior. Even once Blake Griffin came in. Blake Griffin comes in as a third-team All-NBA that first year, plays 75 games for the Pistons, but gets hurt at the end, don't win a playoff game, and Andre Drummond gets slandered.
And that's the thing, with the games that you guys lost, everybody, Cleveland, yeah, they swept them. When you watch that series, all of those games were close. Reggie Jackson played great.Stanley Johnson played great. That was not an easy sweep by any means. Reggie Jackson was an all-star that year. Yes, he was killing. So it's just very interesting how the dynamic of a team can, or the perception of a team can change. Oh, they got swept. Yeah, how did they get swept? Was it 30-point losses or was it 5-point losses? Like, you know what I mean?
Thank you for being educated on this because I promise you, every casual NBA fan, I try to talk to the Pistons about, it's all fans of good teams, and no one actually understands what's going on in Detroit or anywhere else for that matter. No one actually realizes what it takes to build a team. And unfortunately for Andre Drummond, the team wasn't built around him. And I am actually very high on the Pistons moving forward. What they've done, Ed Stefanski coming in, just hired Troy Ferguson from OKC as the GM, making good hires. Like, it's on the right path. We have more money than anybody going into this offseason. And part of that was trading Andre Drummond for next to nothing, which sucked.
Yeah, that hurt.
And he's been around for a long time. He's almost a decade. Dude's only 27.
I was about to say, he's still mad young. Like,
it's crazy. And so, yes, I was actually most upset that we traded him to the Cavs.
Yeah, a bad team. And you guys didn't get anything for him. And what else?
Right, but he opted in.
Which surprised the heck out of me.
$28 million option. He just opted in. And maybe that's just because of the uncertainty. But Andre Drummond as a third option on a competing team is deadly. I promise you that.
See, that's
Andre Drummond will win rings.
That's what I'm saying. See, when you say these guys, it's like, oh, I would make him a first. I'm not saying Kevin Love is gonna go to Boston and be better than Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Gordon Hayward. But like you said, you put a guy like
Andre
that.
Drummond fits better in Boston than Kevin Love.
I would say that as well. I'm in favor of either of them going there. Trust me, if they could get both, I am so for it. If they can't lose Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, I am for it. I just want to see them in winning situations.
Squad and add those two, that's...
Seriously, that's who's gonna come on. Like, let's be real. But I will say this:
Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kevin Love at the 4, Andre Drummond at the 5, with Marcus Smart coming off the bench as your 6th man, and even Tyson, all those dudes. Like Gordon Hayward even could sign for cheap and come off the bench as the 6th or 7th dude.
Now,
that's a squad, bro.
That really is. And I would also say a guy like Drummond with Greg Popovich. I'm a big fan of Popovich. Okay. So him with a real big again, because LaMarcus Aldridge was good in Portland.
They'd have to get rid of LaMarcus, yo.
And I'm a fan of that. I don't like the way, because I didn't think LaMarcus was the right fit for them anyways. I know what they were trying to do. He had a similar skill set with the, he uses the glass. He has a post game 15 feet and in. I got the idea, and Pop did a great idea of adjusting to him. I would keep DeRozan and trade Aldridge. I don't know who you would trade him to. I think you can maybe send him to Orlando and try to get a Terrence Ross or an Aaron Gordon. And they do a great job through the draft and through looking overseas. So I would take my chances on that, because you don't even need a dominant big now. You just need somebody to be lengthy and rim run, and rim protect to a sense.
Exactly. If they could get a true 4 for LaMarcus Aldridge and then go get Drummond, that could work. However, without a true 4 and some dudes to stretch the floor, and I know they got Derrick White, they got Bryn Forbes, another Michigan State boy. Mm-hmm. Derrick White, Colorado Springs boy, for what it's worth, UCCS, University of Colorado Springs, transferred to Boulder, and now is balling with the Spurs. Unless you have real floor spacers, Andre Drummond is the number 2 to DeMar DeRozan is also not going to work. DeMar DeRozan is too much of an inside to the rack mid-range type of guy to fit well with Drummond.
He's a great number 2.
I'm not saying you can't have that, but you have to have a true outside guy too to make that work. Otherwise, I'm not sure I see the fit with the Spurs.
Okay, so what would you think about this? What do you think about Bradley Beal coming in, maybe running some shooting guard point, no different than a Devin Booker or a Harden? And you would have DeRozan at the 2 or 3, and then you could have a guy like Drummond or somebody like that at the 4 or 5. Or, like you said, just a good stretch. What do you feel about something like that?
If you brought in a guy like Bradley Beal, obviously, that makes it better, because you're going to have Drummond to clean up any misses. If Bradley Beal can legitimately play the point, too. I know he picks the ball up, but legitimately he's probably a 2.
Well, he does a great here, with John Wall out. He did such a great job running the point, and his point total went up. So that was another thing to consider. Again, it is in the East, so you have to consider that as well. But he's a great two-way player. A lot of people don't give him credit, but he is incredibly athletic, great shooter, and clutch. So I'm a big fan. Like I said, I would just like to see John Wall and Bradley Beal in a better situation with better coaching and better talent.
Yeah, both of them. Bradley Beal especially. John Wall, I just need to see what happens when he comes back. Who knows? Bradley Beal averaged, 29, 38 games, something like that this year. Dude signed a contract extension to stay there knowing they were going to lose, which is pretty crazy. And honestly improved really 5 extra points a game from 18-19 to this year, and pretty much as good of efficiency. So Bradley Beal is 26 also. So that guy has some real value on the market. The Wizards might really stack up for him.
So
and then imagine they come back next year and Bradley Beal and John Wall both ball out. Right. I honestly don't think they'll keep them. I think they trade both of them and just get 76ers ultimate tank level type of assets.
Ultimate tank level type of assets.
Yeah, I just mean that bottom level, trade them all and just get a crazy amount of assets and lose awfully for 2-3 years.
And that's exactly where I was going with that. My mindset is, because Ben Simmons, this is his contract here, right? So a lot of people think this is the last game that Ben played was his last game with Embiid. He could possibly move on. Do you feel like Ben would move on or that he would be traded? I think Coach should go first. If it doesn't work out, then you move him for assets. I'm thinking in particular you move him for D'Angelo Russell or somewhere out of, Minnesota and get your pieces back with something else. Because I think Dario Saric and Robert Covington, even though Covington moved on to Houston, you can get something still out of Timberwolves. They actually had some decent pieces. So what do you feel about that?
I think Ben Simmons will probably definitely not end up in Minnesota, and the reason I think that is because he goes into his contract year, but he'll be a restricted free agent, and he ain't staying there. I mean, he's winning enough. Unless all of a sudden they got out there and he just like clicked with Cat and.
Well, I wasn't saying he was going out there willingly. I'm talking about via trade. I don't think he'd go out there willingly at all. He's not that type of guy.
Right, he'd go out there via trade, but he's still coming into his fourth year, right? And that means he's a restricted free agent. So he could either take a qualifying offer for cheap and play 1 year after that, or, I guess then the T-Wolves could match him if they have the bird rights. I have to look exactly how that works, I guess. I would almost if Ben Simmons got traded to the T-Wolves for D'Lo and whoever else, and it was him and a Cat thing. If they started balling out for a few weeks, before the end of the season, maybe he, signs an offer sheet and gets matched, and he's okay with that. If they're terrible, I could see him taking the qualifying offer. I'm out after the next year.
I would agree with that. Now, I do have another theory for you, and I was talking to my guy Rashawn about this on a previous podcast that I just put out. Milwaukee versus Orlando in this first round. I don't think Orlando was as bad as some people tend to think. I like their pieces. I like the point guard. I like Terrence Ross. I like Aaron Gordon. I like Vujicic. I like the different pieces that they have. I think they aren't so badly coached either. I think they're a pretty decent team, and they have some playoff experience. And remember, last year in the playoffs, they actually made some noise too. And the point guard had started going off around the same time. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Let's see. What is his name?
For who?
For Orlando.
Evan Fournier?
Fournier. That's exactly who it is. That's my guy. Yes, Evan Fournier. They have him, and they have, they have other pieces. I don't think Milwaukee is going to sweep them. I think because Milwaukee has the tendency sometimes to go, because remember, they did the same thing last year against Toronto. They went in a little cocky, and they blew the games that they had. There was no reason Toronto should have won that series. Now, what do you feel about that? I think that series goes 4-2. I do have Milwaukee winning, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep like everyone says it is.
Yeah, I could see 4-2. When you started asking that question, I kind of figured where you're getting with it, and the initial response is going to be 5. I think I would stick with that.
5 is fair. I agree with that as well. I can see that.
I think Orlando could steal one. I think they'll be close in a couple. Yeah.
The reason I said 2 is 1, you can steal one just because right now they're not in the rhythm. Again, I made it clear I don't trust Chris Middleton has not proven himself in the playoffs at all. I don't even believe he's a true all-star. Had guys been healthy the year he made the all-star, I don't think he would have made it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Also, and
you're wrong, but whatever.
Yeah. No, but see, that's why I want to get into that part of it too after this. So, again, I just haven't seen him prove himself. I think you can just steal one off of anybody if somebody goes in cocky. I've seen it so often, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, we're going to, sweep them or something like that. And then you come in and get your buzz, but, by 15 or something like that. So I think element of surprise. And if a team gets rolling and they get that confidence, we got one, they might put another chink in your armor. And then that other team, I'm not saying they might go up 2-0, but I'm saying you get that one. No different from how Clippers did Golden State last year. Nobody thought Clippers were going to get one with Steph, Clay, KD. They had DeMarcus, who wasn't really ready yet, but they had Iggy, Livingston. They had all those different pieces. So that's why I kind of stick by that theory. Now, as for the Chris Middleton part, I'm wrong. Here's why I'm saying he's not an all-star. Would you consider Kyle Lowry an all-star? Please answer this correct.
This year?
I don't want to hear about this year, Aaron. I'm talking about in general.
What do you mean? That you cannot ask that question.
Nah,
dudes are all-stars on specific years. You cannot ask me about a year.
Is Kyle Lowry an all-star talent?
Career.
Nah, man. Is Kyle Lowry all-star talent? Let's be real. I feel like the all-stars are not most of those guys. Goran Dragic made the all-star team a couple years ago. That is not an all-star player.
Yeah, four Hawks made it. What was it? Jeff T, Kyle Korver.
That was different because they were all killing. It was Millsap,
They
Horford.
were 3 of the 4 of them were trash.
Okay, hold up. Which 3? I'm curious. I'm assume you're not talking about Millsap because he's there.
No, Millsap, but Jeff Teague, was that his only All-Star appearance? Kyle Korver, 50, 40, 90, right? Why did Kyle Korver make the All-Star team? 50, 40, 90. And you're going to tell me that year Kyle Korver was as good as Chris Middleton, who's 49.7% field goals, but otherwise would be 50, 40, 90.
Kyle Kuzma, I'm going to say Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Korver also, it took Steph Curry breaking the record of hitting a 3 in 120-something plus games. So be careful. Disrespecting my guy Kyle Korver.
Matter. Kyle Korver as an All-Star that year with the Hawks, you're telling me he's equitable with Chris Middleton this year at 22 points a game as close to 50, 40, 90 as you can be.
I've also seen Kyle Korver hit clutch shots with Chicago and other teams. So that's why I'm going to say that.
What's Middleton done? Look at Middleton without Giannis this year. Even better.
Man!
He is.
They also had a substantial amount of wins on everybody else, too. So, of course, they got some cushion.
Previous question about Kyle Lowry.
Oh, God.
Kyle Lowry this year, I will say, is not an All-Star. I think Kyle Lowry has All-Star potential, has had All-Star potential. I think he is that fringe type of guy that could get in any given year. Chris Middleton this year was significantly better than Kyle Lowry. So if that's your measuring stick, I think my point stands.
I think your point is a bunch of bull. Now,
look at Kyle Lowry's efficiency compared to Chris Middleton, and with worse numbers. It's efficiency. Not a comparison.
That's cute. Now, here's what I'm going to explain to you exactly why. I'm going to explain to you exactly why I feel how I feel. I feel the same way about the All-Star as I do about playoff seeding. I don't feel like it should be the top 8 from the West and top 8 from the East. It should be the top 16 teams throughout the league. If it is 12 teams from the West, it's just got to be 12 teams from the West. Everybody in the East, get your game up. That's how I feel about it. It should be the top 24 players in the league, not the top freaking 5 from the East, then the West, and then y'all put a couple other people in there. No, I think that's garbage.
Fan voting, too, is trash.
I think fan voting is a bunch of BS. I talked to Todd about this all the time. Zaza Pachulia had more votes than Kevin Durant and almost was an All-Star. Alex Caruso was almost a starting All-Star this year. If that is not one of the most...
I out my window because of that.
That was he had more votes than freaking Jimmy Butler. I honestly thought Jimmy Butler wasn't going to be a starter because of Alex Caruso. And when I tell you...
You're making my point because the fan vote is the reason Chris Middleton ain't made it.
Thank you.
As an alternate,
so you would agree that he's not no real All-Star.
But without the fan vote, Chris Middleton is an All-Star. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, hey, but see, people also forget if guys were healthy at that same time too. Because remember, Dame missed that All-Star game, but they are also they aren't with that bench. If you notice, it's still East and West. It's never really still the best players.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. If you really put the best players, Chris Middleton ain't no top 24, 25 player. Stop that nonsense, man.
So you're telling me 22 points a game as a 50, 40, 90 guy is not a top 24 player?
Would you say? Okay, so you're going to tell me Chris Middleton is better than Andre Drummond? He deserved that All-Star spot more than Andre Drummond because he was on a better team?
1,000%. Bro, are you serious?
I'm taking Andre Drummond before.
See, I am honestly so pumped you're saying that because I've never been on this side of the argument about Andre Drummond. So let's go. I'm out this. Dude, I just don't know how you look at Chris Middleton's numbers this year and say not an All-Star.
See, this is why. I'm glad you brought up the numbers thing. Everybody says numbers don't lie. That is a bunch of bull. Numbers can also be used to deceive. Russell Westbrook had better career numbers over his little triple-double stretch than Magic Johnson did at his best. Who's the better point guard?
Okay, you're looking at like the macro NBA points, like the points, assists, and rebounds. You know, like macros and weight loss are carbs, proteins, and fats. You're looking at points, rebounds, assists.
I don't know nothing about no amino acids,
that
man.
That matters, but let's look at efficiency. Look at Chris Middleton's numbers, his macros, then tell me his efficiency doesn't match up.
Bro, I'm a communications major.
At 22 points a game, 50% field goal, you're not going to take that over somebody who's 25 a game at 45?
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a communications major.
You're
you throw another amino acid or a calorie factor at me, I'm going to choke you out.
Mitchell today, every day.
Whoa. Chris Middleton over Donovan Mitchell?
I'm kind of mad that I actually said that, but now
fix it. No.
So let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers this year. Who is better? Go to Basketball Reference right now.
It doesn't take a genius to know that numbers-wise, Chris Middleton had the better year, numbers-wise.
Okay.
But you gonna tell me?
Wise.
And wins-wise?
Yes.
Circumstance. Donovan Mitchell plays out west. It's hard as heck to get wins in the. Come on,
You're
now.
right, and Donovan Mitchell's never going to be the best player on a championship team. Like I said, neither's Chris Middleton.
So you're gonna
They're
punish
the same
them?
level.
How are we gonna reward Andre Drummond and say if you put him as a third option, that's great, but Donovan Mitchell not being the best player? Huh? Donovan Mitchell is the best player on his team.
Yes, he is. That's the problem.
I think the problem is
That's
he
why
doesn't
they're
have a
not
super
a
team.
championship contender, because Donovan Mitchell's the best player on their team. They're not a championship contender.
Okay, so by that logic, then Damian Lillard will never get a championship because he's the best player on his team. It's the same situation. It's an equal level of talent.
You're saying
It is
Damian
an equal
Lillard
level
is
of
the
talent.
same level as Donovan Mitchell?
I'm not saying they're the same level. It's the same circumstance, though, is it not?
No, it's not.
Whose team is better?
Donovan Mitchell doesn't have a C.J. McCollum. Even Nurkic is comparable now with
Don't
Gobert.
say he is not.
And let's not
Wow.
forget, they didn't have Nurkic the entire year until the bubble. And then all of a sudden he comes back, they start winning.
Right. A lot of guys, when they first come back, and we've had this conversation, too. You a shooter, right? We played ball before. You can shoot, right?
Yeah, you see me
Okay.
smoking.
All right, now answer me this: when you come back from an injury, like just like in a game or something like that, you got that dog in you too. If you come back from an injury, you a little heated. Are you or are you not going to start sniping everything in sight? You're going to start shooting a whole lot different, right? Those first few games back, it's the adrenaline. What is happening with Nurkic? That's gonna die down. And I told people Nurkic was nice. I thought it was stupid for Denver to give him up. I got it when I saw what Jokic was capable of. I didn't think it was the wisest thing. So I get what you're saying. But for you to say Nurkic is comparable, you disgust me.
Whoa. I didn't say, who did I say Nurkic was comparable to?
Rudy Gobert. Yes, you did. I heard you.
Okay, yes, I did say that. I did say that, but you think Rudy Gobert makes that much of an impact on his team compared to Nurkic, especially given the culture issue he's caused over the last 6 months.
You think? Oh, okay. Yeah. Like my guy Rasan said.
I'm
no, you're right.
Now.
You are right.
I'm trying to find my way out of this.
No, that's a punk move. I'm gonna give you credit for it though. It was smooth. It was smooth. But no, I agree. He has caused culture damage. However, his performance, when we're talking performance, if you want to look at culture damage, Nurkic ain't even been there to build no culture. So who's who out here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah.
Right. I don't 100% said. However, I stand by the point that, first off, Dame and Donovan Mitchell are not comparable, period. And Nurkic is more comparable to Gobert than Dame is to Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I can't debate that. I mean, yeah. You're trying to take this easy way out. That's some bull, man. Come on.
No, okay. I'm not going to say that. Never mind.
Look, you about to get real disrespectful again. Here we go. Look, I can tell.
I'm taking Portland over Utah as the better team 100%, no matter what the record is. And I think Nurkic coming back has a big effect on that.
You think you're slick, and I'm sick of you. Yeah, I'm gonna take.
Okay, I'm trying to be slick in some sense because I told you multiple times on this already. I've tried to make significant points and I exaggerate to make that point. So I exaggerated at that point, and I kind of all of a sudden was stuck on that hill, so I had to figure out my way down.
This is the most unfair fight that I've ever seen in my life. You're gonna put Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua on a beat up Deontay Wilder. Okay, I dig it. Okay. So I think this was a great episode, though. We're going to wrap it up on this. We have some other stuff to work on. So thank you so much for coming on this freaking podcast, man. It has been a long time getting you on. So thank you so much for participating.
Anytime.
Got me heated, man. Got me stuttering. Nah.
hey, I'm ready to keep talking. So you let me know when we got to get back on here and play some more.
We got plenty of content coming. So thank you for coming on. If you want to shout out or promote anything, I know you didn't last time, but you got that long username. So go ahead and run that.
I'm good to go, bro. Good to go.
Okay.
I learned, the last one was my first podcast I ever did. You learn from your mistakes.
And you did a great job. You definitely have the energy for it and the spirit for it. So, again, thank you for coming on and contributing that energy. I think they're really going to appreciate it. I certainly did and had fun. So, make sure you guys go follow my guy. Again, links in the description. My stuff will be there as well. This is the Livewire Sports Channel podcast. Love you guys so much. Take care. Be safe. Peace.
Appreciate you.